But overall, we have another puzzle done in the books. What? Hey Puzzle Buddies, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing a mystery puzzle because clearly I cannot help myself. I apparently love them. So this one is from Dowdle / Boardwalk, and I got this puzzle a very long time ago, let me tell you. So I actually got this one at the same time that I got the bento box Speedmaster puzzle from Boardwalk. And y'all know I did that puzzle a long time ago. And then shortly thereafter, I saw that Javi's Puzzle Odyssey, he also picked up one of these mystery puzzles from Boardwalk. And so I watched I watch all of Javi's videos, but that one I was avoiding because I knew I had this one. And I'm pretty sure we got our puzzles at around the same time. And so at the time, I was thinking that we got our orders at about the same time. I wasn't sure if Boardwalk did like a mystery puzzle like once a month, once a quarter, whatever. So I didn't want to watch his video and then get spoiled for my puzzle. But then one day I was scrolling on Facebook and I came across a post from Boardwalk, and they said that they have like, I think it was like 100, like 200 different puzzles that could possibly be your mystery puzzle. So it's like, I guess every puzzle more or less that they have could be your potential mystery puzzle. So the odds that Javi and I have the same puzzle are very small, but not zero. So now that I'm doing this one, I can finally go back and watch that video and see what his was about. But yeah, let's get into this and see what we have. All right, full disclosure, I did take a slight peek into this box earlier because I was like getting my setup ready for puzzling tonight, and my child was very intrigued by this box. In fact, if you see these teeth marks, yeah, that's him. So I did take a peek inside because I was letting him play with it, but I didn't really get a good look at it, so we can still see what this is about. Okay, looking at the pieces, I'm seeing a lot of blue, which is either sky or water. And there's maybe a bridge or flowers, a bridge and a hot air balloon. I'm not too sure. We're gonna have to figure this one out. There also is a resealable bag in addition to the bag that it came in, and then they do have this little black envelope that has the image of the puzzle in it. So if you get stuck, you can open up the envelope and see like the poster that would normally come with the puzzle. So I'm going to hold off on opening that. I think I can make it through it without using it. I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to dump out the pieces, do my flip, and I am going to go ahead and pull out the border. Y'all know usually I like to try to save, or sometimes I like to try to save the border and just kind of do it as I'm puzzling, but I'm not even going to give myself the stress. I'm just going to go ahead and do the border first, and I guess I will check in with you guys after that. First off, the dust in this puzzle was crazy. We think Ravensburgers are bad, which they are, but this was nuts because I wasn't anticipating it. So I just dumped all the pieces on my board, which is this like feltish kind of texture. And so dumping all the pieces out, I literally just ended up with a pile of dust in the middle of my puzzle table. Other than that, I did my flip and I was seeing a lot of like faces, like children's faces, I think a bridge. And so there's like grass and I guess sky. So some sort of like a field or something. I also think I see a bit of an American flag. So I'm still not entirely sure what it is that we have here. Also, as I was doing my sorting and everything, I was noticing that the border pieces are like weird sizes. Like some of them are very, very tall. And so I was noticing that as well. And then that some of the pieces are like the pieces themselves are different sizes in general. Like these are both 3 out, 1 in pieces, but they are very different sizes. So that was interesting. Anyways, I went to working on the border and I was starting with the sky because it just kind of made sense to me, but it's just mostly just blue pieces and they're basically all the same color. There's like a very slight gradient, but not enough to sit here and play with. So I moved on to the grass. That one gave me some issues. One, I realized as I was putting the grass together that the border is very jagged. Like there's not like a general line going across the like inner pieces, they don't line up. So that was interesting to try to line up the pieces by the nubs and not by the height of the piece itself, because there are very like tall pieces right next to very short pieces, if that makes any sense. There also are some false fits because I was doing this grass, and then sometimes I would look at it and I wouldn't be quite sure if the piece that I picked goes with it. But that was a bit confusing. And then because the piece cut of the nubs isn't super unique, I was getting some false fits. But we are just going to go with it and fix what we can as we go along. I think next I'm just going to go with maybe some of these like cloudish pieces that I keep seeing. And then after that, I'm not sure. Maybe I'll try this bridge. And then hopefully somewhere along the way, the sky will come together. So I'm gonna keep working and we'll see how this goes. All right, so I started off by pulling out these like cloud-like pieces. And as I was pulling them, I realized there were a lot more clouds than I was thinking. I was thinking I was just gonna grab this little handful of cloud pieces, but then as I was pulling, there were a lot more than that. So I spent honestly a good bit of time on the clouds. I was trying to line up the like peachy, beigeish pieces with the purples and the blues. And then there were all these like little character balloon pieces that were mixed in with the clouds. And so I was trying to line those up. I did see towards the end that the cloud bits that I had going were starting to come into the little pile of like bridge pieces. And so I, again, just left it alone and figured I'd come back to it. After I finished up the clouds, I was kind of going to go with the bridge, but then I was looking at the pieces and I was like, I really don't think I have the energy, or like I just didn't feel like working on the bridge. So instead, I started seeing these pieces that looked like houses. And so I pulled out all of those, and then I was starting to put them together. And I realized that also the houses kind of have like people on them. So now I'm starting to get the people like put together as well. And then I kept having to go back and pull out more pieces as I realized like what I was looking for, what I was missing. I got like the two little sections of houses that I had connected to each other. And then after a minute, I got those two sections connected to the border. So that felt good. And now I think I'm just missing one piece to connect the like left side of housing to the right side of housing that I have going. I think this is like some kites in the clouds with these children and a few random adults flying the kites down below, and then just like a whole bunch of grass and sky and the bridge in the background. So that is my working theory. I think I'm pretty accurate. I don't think there's much else that this could be. So at this point, I really just have to put it together. I'm pretty tired for tonight. It is midnight now. I've been working for like an hour and a half, I think, on this puzzle. And I kind of am starting to hit my groove, but I'm just going to go ahead and call it for tonight. Hey, Puzzle Buddies, we're back. Okay, so my goal, my hope was that I was going to be able to puzzle while Sun was napping today. That didn't happen. So it is nighttime and we're puzzling. That's fine. I am going to start, I think, I'm going to give it one more go of working on these like clouds things and seeing if I can figure out what I'm missing. There probably is just a bunch of like sky pieces that kind of connect these groups. That's probably what I'm needing to work on. So I might fiddle with that a little bit. And then I'm going to tackle the bridge. It has to get done at some point. I'm hoping I can get this done in the next like hour and a half. I think that's technically doable. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling awake and alert. So let's tackle this, see how I do, and I will check in with you guys probably in a little bit. Okay, you guys, I have been working for the last 30 or 40 minutes, and I have made some pretty great progress. So I started off, like I said, working on those like cloud and kite bits, and I was getting it a little bit more figured out. I was finding some more pieces and getting them connected. And then I realized that the border section that I had sitting off to the side that I thought was part of the left border, it was actually the top border. And so I connected those, and that honestly made me feel really good knowing that I now had like the upper limit of the puzzle. And so it finally felt a bit more contained, if that makes sense, and also completable. So that was like a good little boost for myself. And then I went ahead and decided to tackle the bridge like I said I would. And so I was pulling out the pieces, and I just went ahead and pulled out one of my puzzle trays and put the pieces on the tray. Now, maybe I should have pulled out 2 trays because it was a lot of pieces, but I just used the one. And I was just kind of working off the tray, trying my best to find what went where. I started off with like the pigeon dove thing pieces. And then since I had the birds, I went ahead and worked off of that section of bridge because it has this like a different texture to the bridge on those pieces. Then I had to go digging for some more pieces in my pile. And once I did that, I got a lot more going. And then before I knew it, I was making like real progress. So that was really good. And now the bridge is basically done. I think I'm maybe missing a few pieces here and there, but overall it's about done. And then I finally kind of figured out where these purple pieces went because I had been seeing them, while I was working, but I could never quite figure out where they were supposed to go in the image. And so I guess it's like this like darker purple cloud in the background or something. Honestly, I'm not sure. But I figured out that it goes like under the bridge and under the clouds. And so now what's left is a bunch of blue and a bunch of green. So I'm thinking I might attempt to go ahead and do the sky. And then what will be left at that point is really the grass and the trees. And because there are so many faces and things, I'm hoping that it won't be that bad. I'm going to get back to work and I think I'll just check in when we're about done. Okay, so I did go ahead and work on the sky and it wasn't too bad, although it did take me a little minute because for one, I had a false fit. There was in this like green, one of the green kite monster things, I had some pieces connected that did not go the way I had them. So I fixed it and then things started coming together. And then it was time to do the like border, like the actual like final top strip of the border of the sky. And I realized that a lot of these pieces are pretty much interchangeable. So I did have to kind of go back and forth a little bit. Honestly, I'm not even like 100% confident that the border that I have is correct because like even as I'm sitting here looking at it, some of the pieces look slightly uneven. So I'm kind of thinking that honestly, it might not even be right. Am I going to fix it? No, because technically it looks complete and that's enough for me. I went ahead and moved all the pieces that were left down closer to the edge of the table so that way I could reach them and actually, see them and work with them. Put some on my puzzle tray because I just was running out of space. And then I was kind of finishing up the greens of the trees. That wasn't too bad. I realized that they were palm trees. That made things a little bit easier once I figured that out. At that point, all that was really left was the grass and the people. And that was a bit difficult. Honestly, it wasn't too bad, but there's just so many people and so many bits of clothing and so many bits of arms and bits of the kites that are on the ground. Honestly, the kites on the ground were the easiest part. The one that's a rainbow, I honestly, for the longest, thought that was like someone's skirt or dress or something like that. But that one went together pretty easily because there were only but so many, little rainbow bit pieces. And then the red and blue one, once I kind of got those pieces going, were easy. But after that, again, it was just grass and pieces of people. And so I was really trying to figure out who went where. I tried to group them by colors. So like I tried to get like a few of the pieces that had like yellow clothing on them, the pieces that had like white clothing, and then the pieces that had like purple clothing, that kind of a thing. And that kind of helped, except for once again, I ran into a false fit situation. So in the white clothing pieces, I had some pieces connected that did not go together. So then when I was trying to put it into the larger puzzle, of course, it wasn't fitting until I figured out what was wrong. There were a few animals in the grass, which was kind of fun. There are like a couple birds on the ground, and then there are two or no, I think three dogs. So those were kind of fun to put together when I realized that they were some animal pieces. Other than that, it was just a lot of patience and trying to figure out who was standing next to who was connected to which kite. And I can't lie, I did really consider pulling out the poster while I was working on the bottom section because if I had a reference image, then I could pretty easily pick up a piece and say, oh, the purple piece with a little bit of the white shirt, that has to be over here, and then this green piece that has this blue and whatever that goes over here. Like I could do that, but when you don't know what you're puzzling, I was getting a little overwhelmed. Just kind of powered through and we got it done. And matter of fact, speaking of the poster, I kind of do want to open it just to see like what's in there. Also see maybe if there is the name of this actual image on the poster. So that way if you like it, you can pick it up. This is Golden Gate Bridge. So this is the official poster for it. And if you want to pick this one up, I will try to have it linked down below. All right, so final thoughts on this whole experience. As just getting a mystery puzzle, I liked it. It was pretty straightforward. You just had the pieces in the bag. You take it out, do it. You have the poster in the envelope, which I always like, that you have the option to see the poster if you need it or if you want to. So I like that. Now, moving on. The puzzle dust was crazy. Mind you, I am not in puzzle manufacturing. However, I'm not understanding why these brands, I'm looking at you, Ravensburger, as well, don't have some sort of like sifting process at the end. Like once the puzzle is cut, can we use a sifting situation to shake out the dust before we put the pieces in the box? I just feel like it can't be that complicated of an additional step considering how much puzzle dust ends up in these puzzles. I don't know, but there's that. Also, we could definitely use some more variety in the nub shapes because I had a lot of false fits. Not a lot, but a lot more than I would normally have when I'm doing a puzzle. And so that was frustrating, especially in that top part of the sky, that sky border, because it was all just a solid color. And like I mentioned, a lot of those pieces could just kind of go back and forth, changing them out between each other. Like now that I'm sitting here and looking at it, it doesn't even look right. So there's that. Otherwise, the puzzle was kind of fun. My favorite part was like the clouds. I really like those and putting the kites together. But also the puzzle was pretty glossy, not super glossy, but a bit glossy. So that also did kind of take away from things. We have another puzzle done, and I'm so glad that you guys were here to puzzle along with me. I will be bagging this one up and taking it to the swap, which, speaking of, there is a swap coming up. And so I think I will take you guys along with me again to see what we can find this time. So I think the puzzle swap will be my Wednesday video. Maybe we'll go thrifting again somewhere in between there. So we'll see. This weekend is Juneteenth and Father's Day, so I hope you enjoy your weekend to all who are celebrating. Make sure you're following me on TikTok and Instagram. Like this video and subscribe if you want to see what I'm going to be puzzling next. I will try to have this puzzle linked down below. I also have a link to the Boardwalk mystery puzzle, so if you want to pick one up, you definitely can. And I will see you in my next video.